I'm actually rendering or exporting a video for Pete. Pete was talking about, we were talking about some multi-code, and we were talking about some receivers. So I'm working on that video right now. So I can't do my normal audio thing. Does that make sense? So I figured I'd just jump on here for a second. I thought, hey, if anybody comes on here, you guys are more than welcome to ask anything about, business, ask any questions. Feel free. I can't tell you how much I appreciate, especially you younger guys or you new guys getting into it, or just anything. You know what I mean? That we collaborate on. It's just great because there's a lot of stuff up here, but it's hard to. Sometimes it needs to get stirred like a pot. So it's kind of hard to explain. But yeah, we're getting this video going here. Like I said, we're rendering it. I got this mic. The mic's like kind of right here. Right here. It might have to get moved since I'm not using it. I'm trying to get this video going. Oh, a little better. So, hope everybody's doing good. Sorry, I'm not used to the cords. Everything's a little different. They ain't the setup in the vehicle and whatnot. Cheers, by the way. If you jump on here, and like I said, let me know if you're doing. Let me know what you're into. Let me know what city, state you're in. If you're doing garage doors, you're doing small business. I don't even care if it's like lawn care or whatever. Let me know what you think of the market. What's it like for you? Is it busy? Is it swamped? Hard to find employees? Oh. Is it me? I don't think the employees have gotten better over the years. I'm not saying all, because I tell you what, I got some that are phenomenal people. But like I said, it's like 1 out of 100, if that makes sense. And I also don't know what's going on with YouTube. This video is probably only going to be an hour long, unless we get in some really heated conversation. But for some reason, when I do lives, it shows it'll be like a 10-hour video, and my videos aren't 10 hours. I've never done a 10-hour. I've never done a 6-hour. I think the closest I've gotten to is maybe 2 hours. But for whatever reason, when you look at it, it will actually show like, it'll show, it's just weird. So I just want to put that out there. So people are not like, I can't watch a 10-hour video. I don't blame you. I don't got that kind of time either. What is the topic? The topic is anything business related. I run a garage door business. So garage door related, remotes, keypads, and like I said, it can be anything else too. If you're a mechanic, if you're a fireman, if you're maintenance, it can be anything that you have questions on. I'm here. I just jumped on here. Like I said, I'm rendering a video right now for Pete because he has a customer with a receiver. Boop boop. Multi-code. Some people don't know what this is. And he was having problems with it with the customer, a different kind of receiver. And so I got the computer on right now, so I'm just waiting for it to download so I can kind of sync everything up. So the topic is kind of whatever. I just jumped on here. Like I said, it's just for sometimes I get some of the new guys, and sometimes they got some good questions, like, hey, what should I get into? Some of the, I'm not an attorney, so I can't give you like really legal advice, but I can give you some guidance into the business realm of things. And oh, by the way, I see we got 1 like, so I appreciate that. If you don't mind, hit the like button. Just helps bring more people in, more people to conversation, just more things to talk about. And I tell you what, there's a good group of guys that are on here, especially in the garage door industry. Super great dudes. All right, we got somebody I see jumped in. What do we got? Is it Alex? I don't think I've seen you here before, Alex. Good. Glad you're here. Thanks for being here. So I'm starting to plan on a garage door business. It says your videos are gold. I really appreciate that. And I tell you what, Alex, what really helps is if you're going to start doing a garage door business, what really helps is ask questions. So right now, just you got even if you think it's just off the wall, ask it. You know what I mean? Because there were so many things this is such a gift to be able to help people. Because like I said, when I started out, was back in 2006, there was nobody to talk to. There was nobody to collaborate with. There was nobody to skim some ideas off, you know. It was just, like I said, it was me and Barnes and Noble. That was it. It was Barnes and Noble, go there, read a few things in the books, see if I liked it, you know, pay your 20, 30, I don't know if I spent 40 bucks, maybe, on a book, read it. That was business, you know, business for dummies or business for that or business for that, or just totally off topic stuff, right? And you had to just, I mean, you couldn't ask direct questions and be like, well, what's your opinion? Where I look at this and I go, we have the power to connect with so many people and help, and we can all elevate, right? Because, you know, I love it because, like, the better you do, the better I do. Because I learn stuff off you guys too, you know what I mean? Because I don't know it all. Like I said, when I went down and worked with Josh, he was showing me some stuff. I got a video coming out too. It talks about stacking the doors. And I mean, I was kind of looking at that, and I was like, you know how you ever like look at something, you go, is that the dumbest thing? And then you're also going, or is that the most ingenious thing I've ever seen? I don't know what to think of this. And your mind just kind of goes, poof. That's how it was. I was just like, I don't know. I don't know what this is. And he's like, I just got really efficient. And so when you do it by yourself, and I'm like, I like that. I like that, because I'm the same way. You got to become real efficient, man, when you're doing stuff. Mr. Rich B, I hope you're doing well. Glad you're here. I didn't know I was jumping on. I should have put the Batman signal out. Forgive me. But like I said, you guys are more welcome. Like I said, appreciate it. Got three thumbs up. Appreciate it. Like I said, just helps bring more people in. And like I said, Alex, don't be afraid, man. How old are you? You know, tell me how old you are. You know, are you doing another business, or not business, but are you like working? Because I always kind of put that out there right now. You know, the old economy is kind of like this. You know, it's Rich puts out there he's 60. Rich has got all kinds of good experience. Gosh, Rich, what's this like being like 60? Man, I tell you what, 40 was like, felt like a life changer a little bit. 60's got to be another level, man. It's got to be another level. It's like good to be 40 in the knowledge, but you're feeling the stuff, you know. You're feeling the grinding of stuff on your body. But like Alex, so like I said, if you're working something, like I said, anybody really, this is just my opinion, is right now, everything's got seasonalities to it, right? And right now we're in that lame duck, and I don't know which way things are going to go. You know what I mean? With the economy, it's very, I don't see, definitely like when the stimulus money was out, things were, right? And now it's like people are really holding on, thinking hard about their money, including myself. And so you gotta use caution, like I said. And that's why it's like I go, if I was a young man again, as of right now, I'd still keep my job. And I would probably, you know, I would slowly get into it, whatever. I'd be doing the side hustle. You know, I'd be kind of like doing the, do I feel a bug hit me? What the heck was that? But I would have where it's, you know, you're doing it after hours, whatever, after work, you know, do it on the weekends until you got to the point. And like I said, if you got a big cushion of money, you know, like I said, and you can live, whew, in my mind, I think of a year. You know what I mean? If I could live a year without my job, and then this other would be income coming in, then I might. But I just wouldn't want you to do like what I did. Was I jumped in basically zero, and it was a lot of work, man. You need some capital. It really helps a lot, you know, especially when you guys start buying stuff. Because you know how it is, like it's like a vortex. You get sucked in, right? You start working on this stuff. Customer goes, you know what? I got a house on the lake, and I need 4 garage doors. And you're like 4 garage doors? I've only done 1 at a time. There is ways to avoid it though. You can ask for half down, but of course, you know, if they start getting a little, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just, It's just, there is ways around it, but you just gotta be, I just don't like when people are strapped. That's not fun. So what's up? What's up? Mr. Axel got in here. He says, I'm 32, good age, man. Josh is 33 down there I worked with, man. He is just young and just full of energy. Reminds me of a young me. Says, I've installed doors for 5 years. Okay, so, and I was a technician for one. Injured my back installing, that's a big door, 24 by 14 doors. Currently covering and expecting to be fired when I come back to work. Man, that's hard. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. I mean, it's not that I guess I'm kind of curious. If you don't mind explaining, I don't want you to get too personal here. You can always email me. I guess I wonder why though, because like I look at it like right now, right? Like anybody in the affordable door and gate, right? If anybody was to get hurt and they'd come back, it would be like, because everybody's so valuable. You know what I mean? So unless you're like liability, where it's like things could be prevented and you had a history, you know what I'm saying? Or is it just because of the economy? You know, or you know that they're slow and you know what I'm saying? So, and I think this is one of those things, just in a nutshell, to bring up, you know, why it's very important across for everybody, including myself. You know, you always need to be a top-notch employee across whatever you're doing. If you're mopping floors to your whatever, right? Because you need to be, you know, like that's why I always think about those airplanes and the fighter jets. And I'm always like, the plane is nothing, right? The plane is nothing without the pilot. The pilot is very, very important because he has the training, he has the knowledge, he has the experience. So that's why they have ejection seats in there, right? Now, obviously, if it's not a good pilot, well, you know, you don't want them flying your airplanes, you know. Let's see what else we got here. It says, how you doing, boss? I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Been busy. Been busy. Been busy. Been really busy. Silly busy. It's hard. Been fighting the weather a little bit. Actually, when I went down and it's super enjoyable to go and meet some of you guys in person and work, but it pushes things back. It's kind of like not going to the bathroom for a couple days. Things kind of get backed up, and so it's kind of like playing catch up. All in a great way, though. All in a great way. It's always fun. Dumpster dive for a side hustle can pull 2,000. Dang, man, Tristan, heck yeah, dude. I've wanted to actually kind of go back. Now that you bring that up, I've been kind of wanting to go back and visit yard sales. I used to kind of go yard sailing quite a bit with my mom. That was kind of a thing when I was a kid. And then it's like I hit this plateau in a sense where it was just like, I'm not yard sailing. Like that's just, you know, you got to stop, you got to interact, you got to park off the side of the road, hope somebody don't hit you if it's on a busy road. You know, normally it's just stuff, you know, sometimes there's little gems though. And I don't know, I've been kind of having that itch where it's like, I'm kind of missing it a little bit. And I thought, well, you know, like it's just fun to play around with. Like if you can find something that you know is worth some money and you could maybe resell it, you know, it's a good little side hustle, right? And just like, you know, if you do dumpster dive, I mean, I've kind of wanted to, I got a friend he filled me in a little bit, but not a lot of details. But he's been buying those, maybe you guys know some people too. He's been buying those skids that are like from like Amazon or these other companies that like were undeliverables and stuff like that. And he was telling me there's one that's in town that they go through it, right? And I always thought there was kind of like it's kind of like the storage units, right, when they're auctioning, but yet the owner has the key, and I'm like, who's to say the owner didn't get the good stuff out of this already? And but anyways, they go through these skids, you know, and then they, you know, he resells and stuff, either on Craigslist, Marketplace. But it'd be cool to, it'd be cool to see like kind of more how it's done. And then he already kind of knows who to pick them from, you know, like you don't go to this place, you go to this place, because they don't like rewrap them. They just take them right off the semi and you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so Alex says no bad history, just the vibe I'm getting from the HR department. Ew, yes. Yes. Well, man, I don't know. You know, like I said, I would just make sure, you know, if it's a place that you want to stay, you know, because there's kind of like two sides to the fence on that stuff, you know, because potentially, obviously, if they let you go, and you know, there's kind of that unemployment. So maybe that's a blessing in disguise, right? You collect your unemployment for a while, you got time to go search or whatever you can do, the side hustle, whatever you got to do, right? And then there's other part where it's like maybe you just make sure you talk to them and you throw in whatever you're willing to throw in, like, hey, I'll work a week for half pay just to show I'm on board, man. I'm on this team because, and I look at it like, I mean, I don't know obviously anybody's situation in a sense when it comes to that, but I look at it and I go, my biggest thing is always for when I've had, I got employees and stuff is like the willingness, right? The willingness to show up, be on time, not super negative. We all have our days, but just, trying. You know what I mean? That's the big thing. I mean, that to me is just like you hold them and kiss them and love them and squeeze them. Because I've had a lot that where it's like, they come in and they're bloodshot eyes because they're drinking heavy at night. There's just a whole list, and it's like, I always refer it to the axe on a tree. That's like a swing, right? The bloodshot eyes, and I was drinking last night, and then it's 2 days later, I was drinking again last night. I had a hard night. Those are all little chips, right? And until eventually that tree comes tumbling down, and it's like, all right, we're done. You know what I mean? You already smashed up a truck. You already came in, drunk. You already made a fight. You're gonna fight with a customer. You've been doing this. You haven't showed up yesterday. You've been showing up. These are all those chips, and that tree starts. So it's just stuff in general, not for Alex, just in general for people. Where somebody got hurt, man. It's like, we need you, come back, please. I had one guy, I remember, he was a little bit on the flippy flop side. I remember he broke a rib. So the doctor said no lifting, whatever, and I was like, well, can you come in and like just sort nuts and bolts? And he was like, no. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, can you like sweep the floor? No. I'm like, can you answer the phone? No. I'm like, okay, so I guess you're kind of milking this thing out, aren't you? I didn't even care if he just came in for, it was just, how it's one of those things, like if you would at least just come in for like 2 hours, even a half a day, just something to show like, hey, I'm trying, and hey, I'm not feeling good today. I'm in discomfort. I need to go home early. Understand, you know what I mean? But it's just the fact that it was like, doctor said no, and it was like, it was just for lifting. And I was like, well, you can't like, I mean, if you could just sit in here, like watch for trucks to come, you know what I mean? And then just call me, or deliveries, that'd be a huge help. What's Mr. Justin got? I'm watching this thing render on this computer, so that's why I'm looking this way. It says, what's your opinion on selling those dumpster dives, knowing how customers can be? Man, that's a good question right there. You know what I mean? You just change your name, got a fake name, swap it every time you sell something on like Facebook or something. Have a burner phone. Yeah, Tristan. That's why, yeah. I kind of look at it like, hey, it's one and done. You know what I mean? Some of you guys probably don't know. I might say here, we'll see. It says, are we talking about dumpster diving, garage door parts? LO? I don't know. You better not be raiding my dumpster. You ain't gonna find that kind of stuff unless he's in the scrap hopper. Do watch the auctions. Have a good one close. They do estate and business liquidations. Yeah, there's a lot of those. Those are good ones if you get on. I forget which one. There's one around here on the internet. One they always talk about it. God, I can't think of the name. Starts with a C, I think. My vendor got me hooked on it a while back. I haven't looked at it in quite a long time because he retired. Justin says, oh, I'm a tech, by the way. Nice. And a door salesman. Ooh, wear multiple hats. So I have 40K worth of stuff to resell already. Holy cow. Trish says I don't scrap. That's awesome. Customer taught me how to treat them, Says Tristan says I would find your returns and install them myself for the same price. I had another business that I don't mess with, you know, that dealt with the porta-johns. I tell you what, porta-johns are great because there's a couple reasons. For one, they can sit outside, no problem. Rain, hail, storm, sun, everything, right? They sit out there already. The other great part is, if you resell one or fix it up or buy new or whatever, however you do it, when you sell it to a customer, it's great because you typically, I've tried this before. I've tried to be really nice about it even. And I've asked them, I said, do you need instructions how to use this? And they just look at me and they're like, no, I think I know how to wipe my own ass. Oh, and that's what's the beautiful part about it. Because when you deal with technical stuff, garage doors, remotes, I mean, anything, I always call it, I don't know what else to call it, is human interaction. Sometimes, what did I read today that said, how did I read it? It said there's, people are like a distributor. I think there's like in a car, this is what they showed a picture of, a distributor cap. And some said that some are advanced and some are retarded. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. And I was like, that's a good, explanation. Like I just thought, and I've had a lot of customers over the years that, I tell you what, there's a lot of craziness out there. That's all I know. And it seems like it gets worse and worse by the day. He says, I respect it. He says, craft. Okay, so the only one by me is a craft auction service. I haven't heard of that one. I'm trying to think of maybe I'll look it up here in a minute. I'm a little bit green at how to load this video from the computer. I'm used to doing it from my phone. Waste not, he says, want not ton. Says nothing like sitting in a porta-john at 7 a.m. when it's 10 below. See, I think I like the cold better than I do the heat. Because I don't remember, I made a little short video on it. And I think it was like something like with Hulk Hogan or something, but man, it was like 101 degrees that day. And you know how it hits you? And it was like, oh, I gotta go number 2. And man, I was sitting in there and it was just, the sweat, and you know how it is, like when it runs right down the center of your back and it's like running right down your hiney. And I'm just sitting there just drenching, like, can we please get this over with? But like I said, the only thing, but it gets more human interaction, right? I had one, some of those porta-johns have pumpers in them. So they're like flushers in a sense that it'll either put new fluid in so you don't have to see your stuff and nothing has to splash and get you. Had a lady, wasn't working quite. It was a used unit. and she didn't know how to operate it. And so she was asking question after question, and I kind of explained to her, you have to put fluid in the back, so that's the reservoir, and then that feeds, and I mean, it was like to the point. I think I might have even got to the point, and I think she bailed on it last minute. But I was going to return it. I was like, why don't you get a standard one? Like, I don't think you're understanding this. Talked to her on the phone, tried to send her a video. So, like I said, simpler, better sometimes. That's why I always tell you guys sometimes about the fencing. I don't think a lot of you guys, I don't know if there's anybody really that I know that just does pure fencing that watches the channel. I know some of you guys do gates and stuff like that, but like the fencing, man, I tell you what, yeah, it's labor intensive, but you get like a skidster, you get smart with it. There's just no human interaction. You don't have people typically walking, not always a situation, but typically walking down the fence line every day, looking at it going, oh, I found a scratch in this galvanized chain link, hurricane, whatever you call, cyclone fence, right here, there's a scratch that could rust, even though it's all galvanized and takes many years for that stuff to ever, it's like that doesn't exist. But if it's a garage door, if it's a man door, if it's a dock plate, if it's a dock seal, right? There's a rip, there's a tear, it's crooked, the bolts came out. That's why you got to do good installs. You got to be clear. I see Rich is always good for stuff. He says breaking the ice. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, that's no fun when your stuff's shitting on top. So as Justin's guy says, it's so easy to look good because of the bad rep service industry has been giving smelling like weed. Oh man, isn't that the truth? Weed alcohol is so easy to make. My boss happy, showing up ahead of time for appointments. Right on, brother. Right on, dude. That's the key right there. Justin's got it, man. I mean, there's just some little things that are such big things. You know what I mean? Like I had a guy, this guy would show up like always like 2 to 3 minutes. Like I would literally think he's sitting around the corner. Because we would start at 8 o'clock. And this guy he had a bad rap, right? And he would, I'd tell him, I said, dude, you need to show up. I said, 5 or 10 minutes early to work. And he goes, well, I don't understand why. He goes, I mean, 8 o'clock is when we start. I said, the thing is, I don't know if you're going to show up. I said, you've already left me hanging a couple times. And I said, when you show up like a minute before, I mean, I see you come zipping in. I was like, well, that's what time? I said, oh, no. I said, not a problem. I said, guess what? I said, now we start at 7:45, Oh, whoa. I said, I'm just telling you. I said, you need it. And the thing is, they're getting paid, right? It wasn't like I'm having him clock in and he doesn't get started till 8. You get paid as soon as you clock in. But you know what kind of stress that put on me when I was sitting there? And I mean, you really, really depend on this person because you sold these jobs. You need to get these jobs done. And, you're like, is this guy going to show up or do I got to call somebody else in? And then, how that's going to be. It's going to take another 30 to an hour to 2 hours to get somebody else just in the queue to be like, hey, can you get dressed today? Can you get your long johns on? Can you get ready to come help me today? Or they just flat out can't do it. And it seemed like I constantly came across it. I was talking to my brother-in-law about this. And I said, I'm telling you, man, I said, it feels like you got to always like bring in 2 guys and then you send one home. So you're going to come in, I'm going to pay you for 2 hours if I don't need you. And then I'm going to send you, right? It didn't ever seem like it worked that way. You're going to get a bad attitude from people. But that's what it felt like. And I'm sad to have to say that. Where are the videos on here? Let's see what else you guys got. Customer happy because they expect customers happy too because they expect you late. Yeah, communication is such a big thing. I think a lot of it too, if you can kind of get up, the thing is it's kind of good and bad. We live in this, so I got painters right now doing a rental. the one company, right? That's actually a big company. They're probably like us with Affordable Door and Gate or bigger. I'm not gonna say her name, but I called them. I said, you can contact me email. I said, you can text me or you can call me. And the way I look at it is basically 24 hours, right? I expect something back in 24 hours, even if it's just a blip or we're super busy, we're not gonna get to you, I'm sorry, or it's gonna take us 2 months, 2 years, whatever. They call back a week later. Far as I'm concerned, if it's a week later when you contact somebody, don't even bother, because it screwed with me. Because when I got a text message, right? And it said, hey, this is somebody, blah, blah, blah. And it said, I could come yet today and take a look. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, well, that's weird. Because now I already had to wait a week for this other place. And I said, well, his name was Matt. And I said, Matt's coming out or whatever tomorrow. And I thought, so maybe they're just trying to get in early, you know? And I thought, I kind of don't like that, because I thought you're messing with my schedule. And, but I thought, I get it. I'm a contractor, whatever, you know, things, maybe tomorrow's busy for them. So I'll work with them. You know, and they said, it says, well, it comes back, well, Matt, we don't have a Matt that works for us. So now I'm going like, who in the flippy flops is this, right? So I go back and I'm like, this is the other company. I'm like, this is a week later. And I said, oh, hey, I said, I'm sorry. I said, but, you know, I said, I already found somebody. I said, if it doesn't work out, I said, I can let you know. Now, here's the thing, right? This is why it's super important about the phone and communication and stuff like that, right? Regardless. I told the guy when he showed up, I said, hey, I said, your secretary did a really good job. And I think he's just a worker, but I wanted to make him, you know, I think he should know this. I said, you know, I said, but you guys communicated. She took my information. You know, she asked how I heard about him, which I thought was great. And she documented all that, right? They did an email. And I noticed that, so when he's talking to me, he goes, you know, it's kind of funny, because I told him about the other company. I said, you know, I said, the other company kind of flopped, you know. I said, this is what's going on. And he said, he goes, you know, it's kind of funny that you say that. He says, because we just had 2 guys from that place that are looking for jobs over here because they said they ain't got no work for them over there. And I said, well, I said, I can tell you why they said they ain't got no work. I said, for one, I said, they're not answering their phone. I said, and to call somebody back a week later, I said, when I give you all the options, you know, I didn't say, you know, you can only call me from noon to 2 or anything. I just said, hey, you can call me, you can text me, you can email me, whatever your convenience is, you know. And to get 0, unacceptable. So that was definitely disappointing. Now, you know, it's one of those things where you're like, I don't know if I'll ever use them in the future. Is it Napoleon's kiss, he says, Richard's got? What does he say? He says, what's Justin got? He says, they joke with me at work. How early did you show up to the first appointment? Like I'm crazy for being ahead of time. I don't get paid by the hour commission. If my customer's happy, it's better for all. That's great, man. Like I said, that's a lot of people got to get it out of their head that you got to be paid for every little bit and piece, right? It's a whole ecosystem, right? Like, for instance, let me just take you back in time. When I used to work at I used to make bumpers, right? Like Eminem, the rapper song or something, right? I made bumpers. And then I worked on the press that put holes and stuff in it. And these guys could never understand, right, that work around me, like why they always got pulled off and got the really crappy jobs when the machine would go down. And it's because when the machine would go down, I wasn't tool room, right? I wasn't even supposed to technically touch the tooling or the die, but the tool room all knew me, right? Because I built a reputation. I would go in there, I'd make adjustments, I'd go into the tool room, I'd tell them I need certain things, clearance, taken off. And it was a very slow process, right? I mean, I just didn't do stuff I wasn't supposed to and didn't know what I was doing. But I slowly, you know, every time they're there, I was leaning over their shoulder. What are you doing there? What are you doing? What do you got going? And I built trust. So every time the machine go down, guess who got to stay back with the machine and really kind of have the gravy job? Me. Why? Because my boss, my supervisor, knew I was going to handle the situation where everybody else was just leaning, right? They're all leaning up against something. They're all just being, you know, that ain't my job. call maintenance, call the 2 room. That's not my job. And I'm like, dude, it's all our jobs. Because if this doesn't run, the business doesn't make money, and we lose a paycheck, this place goes under, like it's all a community. We all need to work together. It's a horrible attitude to have. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you're just there like that, you should really just leave. And there was a lot of people that would sit at the table, I remember, at lunchtime and stuff like that, and just complain and complain and complain about how this place, and I remember I'd sit there and eat my food, and we'd have a door open because it's hot, in the summertime. I'd literally look out a door, and I'd be like, the door's right there. I said, there's no cage, there's no fence. I said, there's nobody stopping you. You literally can walk out. I'll even let them know. I was like, this place is so bad, you should just leave, like right now. Like right now, just walk out, get in your car and leave. But normally they didn't get fired because they'd be late so many times. I was telling my kid this the other day. I was telling her, I said, when I worked at a shop, I would leave early enough that if my car broke down, I could probably still make it there by jogging, enough to still be in the gray area, not to be super tardy and late. You know what I mean? But more likely, I was going to be pretty much on time. I might have to do a little jog, but I left early enough that if my car broke down, and then I had two, since I had a used car, I know how used cars are. They're not super dependable, right? Some of the new stuff ain't dependable either. But I had 2 of them. So one broke down, I'd get the second one out. While the other one, I'm fixing it myself, or I had to take it in for repairs. It's very common sense. People are always victims, right? That's what it seems like a lot of. So that's good, Justin. Keep up the good work. Says punctuality tells you, Sarah says. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look at Justin's got bullseye. It does, man. People can read. Like you are building a character in life. You know what I mean? Like, so smile more, be friendly, open door for people. I mean, this is all energy and universe and things that are working around us. You know what I mean? It's just super important. You know what I mean? Don't think the world's always against you. There's a lot of bad things, trust me. I feel it too, but think about the positive and think about how you can help other people, help the business, because people see these things. You know what I mean? And like for Justin, he's doing a rock star job, man. I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to just keep chiseling at it and keep doing a good job, and it'll add up. It just does. You know what I mean? Because you're going to become to a point where you're, what do they call it? Indisposable. Like it's impossible. Like you need to be in command, or you need to run a crew, or we're going to open up another location, or, hey, how about you run this place? You know what I mean? Perfect example, right? And all these things add up, right? This is so Cap that runs the business, right? The affordable. He had a guy in front of him, and he was a super good salesman, right? But he ended up turning out to be a thief. He was a liar. He screwed up. And the guy that just was the tortoise, that was just slow and steady, and he showed up every day. He tried his best. Guess who's the guy that was the winner chicken dinner? Cap was, because he just proved himself over and over and over. And honesty is the biggest thing, honesty, no theft, no weirdness. That's so big, like everybody knows, right? It's like when you send 2 guys out, right? And one guy shows up and you're like, where's the other guy? And he's like, oh. He left the same time I did. And then he shows back up and you're like, hey, it's like 20 minutes later. And you're like, where were you? And like, you're like hoping like for an honest, like, well, I actually got diarrhea. I had to stop twice. Really embarrassing. And you're like, oh man, it happens. Like, oh, okay. And I was there just to make myself feel a little better. I got popcorn because they were, the popcorn machine was going. It smelled so good. And you're like, all right, cool. Instead it's like, well, I took a left and I took a right, and you're like, and then, the next day there's another story about something. There's another story. You see their work. They're not improving. You tell them something even, they're just, you know how it goes. Dun, dun. Says Justin's guy says this industry. Oops, it moved on me. Is so relaxed. Techs don't even feel bad or ashamed of being late. Yeah, that is there's probably some truth to that. There's some truth to that. I don't know why that so much is. You know what I mean? I don't know why that is. And like I said, the biggest thing you can do if you're starting a business or you're just anything in life, right? Life advice is remember just communication. Most people, not everybody, most people understand that you get a flat tire, you ran into traffic, right? But they also can kind of pick up on the BS, right? Like you're like you were really just running late, and you probably should just confess that and say, look, I woke up late, I'm running late. I can't tell you how much communication though. I mean, nowadays I have to be on like the proactive side of that, right? Where I'm constantly with contractors and just even if I have an employee or something like that, I still like it's almost like hour by hour, not to that extreme, but it's like I'm messaging them. Hey, did you wake up this morning? Oh, okay, okay. just making sure, making sure you're good. Another hour. Hey, you're heading this way, right? Oh, okay, yeah. Hey, yeah. Probably because I've been burned so many times. So it's just like you have to be on the proactive side and just be like, are you gonna show up until they earn that trust? And even sometimes, even if they have a really good trust or good history, it still doesn't hurt to say, hey, in the morning, why don't you message me? I message you. Especially if it's a real hot job, like you got to be on it because I've had it happen where alarms don't go off, like even on me, you know what I mean? Like alarm didn't go off, we lost power, like I don't know what it is with these iPhones, but iPhones kind of stink for their alarms because my old one used to tell me like when you clicked on it, when you turn it on, it would say, oh, in 6 hours and 42 minutes, your alarm's gonna go off. And I was always like, but this one's like either on or off on an iPhone, which I don't like. So it's like you hit it and it's like, did you really accept it? Or did I hit the right date? It just says it's on. And I'm like, I like when it would tell me, in 10 hours or 6 hours, your alarm will go off. Cause I was like, oh, okay, at least we're on the right day. Cause who hasn't ever had that happen where you set it for the wrong day or your parameters are wrong, right? Maybe AM, PM. Darn iPhones. Sarah says, Justin, right. Love it. Says Alex says, can't always be on time when you run into unexpected problems and difficult customers. There is. I mean, hopefully it depends on, the situation. So like I would never set the guys up for failure. Like I typically we'd have our prime job. I always do that kind of in the morning, right? That'd be like a 16x7 door install. And I knew, depending on the job, it was going to be, between, 4 to 6 hours. And then there's a little bit afterwards. And so that was always where what I would do is I would call a customer and say, look, if he gets done early, are you, and this is all about planning, right? So you have to, are you home? And oh yeah, I'm home all day. Like I work from home. I'm not going anywhere. So if you come after 2 anytime, oh, that's even perfect because my yard's getting cut that time. And I like to take my dogs for walks. Oh, okay. Well, if the guy, is free, I'm going to send him, right? He might not. If not, what I typically try to do is I try to roll it over for the first thing so I didn't waste their time in a sense for the next day, right? I'd say, okay, well, if he doesn't get there, because things happen, I understand. I say, tomorrow we can shoot for, 10, 9 to 11 or something like that. And then the trick is, what you got to do as an owner, tech, anything, excuse me, the phone, man, the phone. You can save so much money with the phone. But you got to discipline yourself to actually do it, right? You got a phone call. Like for me, it ain't fun. I don't like doing it. But I literally would take and, I would call the customer. I had to like force myself to call the customer before that truck leaves the shop or my next service call. You know, and call the customer and hey, how you doing? You know, hey, I just want to let you know I'm heading your way, because those customers can change on a flip. And I've had it happen where it's like I've called them and they, you know, I'm so sick of this. I know it happens, but it feels like people use this to their benefit, and it's a lie. I feel like, because it's just happened too many times to me, but turns into this. Oh, I had a family emergency. Okay, like even when I've had family emergencies, right? I'm like, I know something's happening, right? Something's going on still, and like my first thing is like, I'm calling a family member, the wife, somebody. I'm like, hey, call the furnace guy and let him know we had an incident. You know what I'm saying? Like, it looks so much better when it comes from that way versus you call or you show up and you're what the, and then you know you call or whatever. Oh, we had a family emergency. Oh, okay. Like, was the house on fire and your cell phone was in there and like you know what I'm saying? Does that happen to you? It happens to me a lot, more than it should. I get to a point now where I just kind of, it's kind of like watching the homeless people on the corner, and I'm just like, man, like, you want to hop in and get a job? I was like, let's go. Oh, appreciate it. Thanks for, we're up to 5 likes, man. Look at that. Thanks for hitting the like button, you guys. I don't think we got nothing special today for a cup. We just got a Yeti. How should we label this for Pete? We got multi-code. Do multi-code is the best or something like that. Let's see what you guys got in here. Won't leave you hanging. Ooh, Rich has got, I give my customers, there you go. I always give my customers an AM or PM window and call them when I'm on my way. Dude, Rich, I think that's spectacular, man. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you sharing that. I think that's, I don't think that's a bad idea. You know what I mean? I mean, that way you got a nice broad window on there. It's either the AM or the PM. That's a great way. I think that's a great idea. You know what I mean? I think we've always bounced between like a 2 to 3 hour window. We used to be like, we try to shoot for like the hour. That didn't happen. That was a no-go. So it seemed like if you gave them a window for us, you know, about like, I like a 3 hour window. And then we'll call you when we're on our way. And then typically what it is the tech will, you know, let the secretary know, the secretary will call, and then they'll get kind of make sure everything's blended good. And then they'll let the, you know, tech know that, hey, they're ready for you. They're all set. There's all kinds of different ways you can do it, but I like that AM PM. I like that. You know, I think that's a good idea. All time. Oops. Man, I screwed that up on there. Let's see what else I got here. Sarah's doing a laughy face. She's laughing at us. I'm just joking. What else you got? It says, yeah, we have a program that texts the customer the day before to confirm good appointment, and then again when dispatched to their address. Nice. Alex, do you by chance know what that service is called? Ours kind of does something like that. I don't think it does a day in advance, but Jobber, we use Jobber. Jobber's been good. Jobber needs to sponsor me. Come on, Jobber. Give me some love. I do like Jobber, though. I wouldn't promote it if I didn't like it. And it's way better than our other service that we had. It was just oops, the best. Let's see here. Oops. What else we got here, right? Gen Z. What's up? This is Gen Z, Rich. It's crazy how all these gens are coming out now. I gotta write this down. Anywho, what else you guys got? You got anything else? Well, okay, so I'm glad Alex Okay, so Alex says on here, he says, it's called Service Titan. Yeah, Service Titan. That's the best one out there, I think. They got really nice stuff. It makes your hair smoother. It makes your grays go away. Service Titan is pretty nice, but pricey. Too expensive for Uncle Dave. But no, so I'm glad you brought that up though about the 4 hours. I don't have my chart, do I? This has just been my experience. You can rush through things, and it's one of those things like there's guys out there, I get stuff done in an hour, that's just and so my thing always was that's why I always left it as kind of an open. So like for the technicians, I never wanted them to ever be pressured because when you have employees, it's a different world. Like when you're working for somebody, it's like you're always like, I'm the best. My armpits never stink. But when you have employees and you fight all these battles, the last thing I ever wanted was for technicians, right, to feel so pressured that they had an excuse to say, well, that's why I did a crappy job. I always wanted to be able to go behind everybody's work and look at it and go, what the heck, dude? Why did you not change the weather seal? It's provided. It was on the work order. Well, you only told me so. So time is never really a big thing. It was always, like I said, I always did the juicy stuff first, schedule that first, because obviously you don't want to schedule like a door install, let's say at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and they got to be home by 4 o'clock or something. You know what I mean? They're going to be pressured. So I'd rather have the whole morning because there's just things that happen. They forgot a torsion tube, the door section, something's not right, it didn't come with bottom seal, brackets are missing. So the time is really nothing. My only thing is everything is a 2-hour window for me. You know what I mean? Like, and the reason I say 2 hours is because when you factor in everything to load it, to get your tools out. So for me, it was like when we did an opener, if it was close, right? I would be like, it's 2 hours. It's 2 hours. It might be even just a hair longer. If you're doing a residential garage door opener, it's 2 hours. Well, why is it 2 hours? Well, it takes you 15 minutes just to drive there, right? It might be 20 minutes, right? It might be 30 minutes. Well, there you go. There's an hour there, just eating up, driving there and back, then getting your tools out, getting the opener down. It's 2 hours. You want to take a door down? Let's say 16 by 7 or whatever. Even if it's 9 by 7. Yes, you shave a little bit of time off. Maybe it's less, 15, 20 minutes. But what I'm getting at is it's 2 hours. It's 2 hours to tear out. It's 2 hours to install. And I factor in a lot of things, which is like some of it's a little bit of driving, some of it's, getting your tools out, cleaning your tools back up. You got to clean, so in a nutshell, this is how I really think. This is not how it really happens though. We as an industry, garage doors, people, whoever, right? We should be paid enough that we only have to really do one install for the whole day. I'm talking like a 16 by 7, maybe 2 9 by 7s, maybe. And that should be enough profit. And it's not. I know it's not. But I'm just saying it should be, right? There should be enough profit, not to say it can't be, because you might be able to work your numbers that way. There should be enough profit that's the only job you should have to do for the day that serves for your paycheck, the truck, fuel, it covers everything comfortably. Because like when I'm doing door installs, like I've noticed, like it's like, dude, you got a lot of crap. There's stuff that you have to restock. You have to clean the van out. I mean, we're talking like if you want to sweep it, you want to get the doors, especially if you got wood doors. You take them to the landfill. You got to chop them up, put them in a dumpster. You burn them. It's amazing how we show up there, like firemen, put out the fire, and it's like, oh, we're all beat up. We got dirt. We got stuff under our fingernails. We got to rewind the hose. I feel like I got to sneeze. If it comes up, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So it just, what I'm saying is like, that's why I always try to do this stuff in the morning. But I also like, that's why I always like kind of the commercial stuff, because if they had multiple doors, you know, they're set for the day, right? It's like, you're golden, man. Like you got, and then it's like, if they call and go, hey, this hardware box, and you're like, well, go to the next 12. Does that one got it? Yeah, that one's got it. Okay. I'm gonna pull your stuff tomorrow. You know, you got to bring a set of drums, and they constantly got work. I mean, big jobs always seem like they took some pressure off me from the little nitpicky stuff. So it's just interesting. Do. I like this. I see what Rich's got here. It's called Service Titan. That's right. He says, yeah, we also uses Service Titan. Nice. Nice, Angel. That's awesome. So it's a good app if you haven't already looked into it. Yeah, Service Titan, like I said, it's great. It's just too much money. Jobber's more the economical system, and it works, does a job. You have to do a little bit more, in a sense. But Service Titan, like they wouldn't like give us like a free trial. I mean, they wouldn't give us a discount. They wouldn't even, where what was nice with Jobber is, this is important across the board on a lot of things. We just came off, right, a service that we had to pay for like, whoa, man. I think it was for a whole year. One whack, right? And it was either like, I think it was like $3,500. And we started it. We got into it probably 3-4 months, whatever, 6 months. And it was like, I came in there and I was like, we're done. We're not using this. And I mean, everybody's looking at me like, we can't. Like, we just spent all this money. And I'm like, we're done. I was like, we are done. I was like, I don't give a flippin' floppy flop. I said, college isn't free. We're done. I said, get rid of this. This is garbage. But this is how I looked at it, right? If we wouldn't have started it, we wouldn't have been led to the next system that was better. So yes, it sucked that we lost out on money. We couldn't get refunded. We had to pay a whole year. Jobber came along. They said, oh, we do it by the month. It's only whatever, $200 or something like that. And it was like, all right, for $200, no, we can cancel like whatever. Yeah, I like that, because you know what? That shows me they believe in their product. They want to keep you as a customer, because at any point you can cut it. You can be like, I'm done. I'm out. Your stuff sucks. And we've been with them ever since, you know what I mean? And that was quite a few years ago. Not to say Service Titan isn't, but it just kind of bummed me. Like, I don't think they offered any monthly. It was like you had to sign a year. They might bill you, but it was just like, yeah, we just came from this one. You won't even let us do a free trial. And they show you and all this stuff. And it does. It has all kinds of bells and whistles. And obviously it sounds like it works good for you guys. But there's not enough. When you start hearing chatter from your employees, and they're like, this isn't working, this isn't working. Like the first software we used, you had to have a designated computer in the office. We had to pay like an internet IT company to come in, and I remember if you touched the mouse on the computer, like you were sitting at the desk and you just bumped it, it would throw the secretary off. She was working remotely, and it'd be like a phone call. Did you touch something on the computer? And it's like, no. I mean, so you gotta have a certain computer. It was a nightmare. It was like, it was a nightmare. I wish I could remember what the name was. I gotta remember. Sarah says, laughed at your comment. This is about employees being weird and disappearing. Yeah, that's, man, I tell you. Rich B says, I like the 2-2 method. Rich, can you give me a little more? You know, is it 2 hours takedown, 2 hours, and then 2 hours for cleanup? Is that what we're getting at? Can you get a little more? You always got such good information. What's the 2-2 method? Teach me, wise man. Teach me. Think. All right. We're just gonna make this one short and sweet on this one, because I'm doing it off the computer and I'm no good. .com. All right, we're gonna see if we can make this video go live for Pete. Save. Multi-code are the best. We'll see. And let's go like this. We're gonna go like this. We're gonna go on. I'm gonna check your comments in just a second. Oh my gosh, this doesn't do this to me on my phone. Appropriate something. Okay, whatever. Does your censored? What is this? I don't know, they changed something. I have to go back to this. Let's go cancel. And we're gonna go on again. Adult. See more. What is this? What is this? How does this even work? Sorry guys. Let me jump back on here with you. Alex says, maybe I need to move to Michigan. Most guys at my company, 4 doors, 2 openers a day average. He says, we do a lot of new construction. Yeah, I mean, new construction, you can kind of get stuff whipped out if you need to. I guess it depends on kind of, if you're doing 4 doors, like what size, and if they're kind of next to each other, obviously that helps. Because I've always noticed like your setup is what takes a lot, right? Like for me, I get a table out, I got to get my tools out. So if it's like multiple doors there, I can almost do like a better price. And it's weird because, like I said, when I went down to Arizona, the Mexican guy I was working with, man, he was incredible. He was a smart dude and everything. He had like 4, 5, 6 doors, and he's like, "You gonna come help me?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm going back to the office. Like, I'm not planning on working a 16-hour day." And he was really good. But I remember they did a lot of doors, but their pricing, right? Their prices were so cheap. He gave me a list, and I mean, they were like making like, the guy was making like $60 a door. I was like, that wouldn't fly up, you know. And he even told me, because the guy was from Michigan, he was up from the UP, and he goes, I'm just letting you know, he goes, those prices will not work up there. He goes, up here, labor, we got plentiful, it's a lot cheaper. He says, but up there, he says, you know, and I was like, heck no. I was like, they were installing openers for like, I think they were making 20 or 40 bucks per opener. And I'm like, what do they do if they got callbacks? He's like, well, they don't really make much. Like, we give them like $5, you know. I'm like, ugh. But I guess I incentivized them to do a good job in a sense too. What's up, New Age? He says, I did 3 16x3 openers today. Perfect example. What did, so on those 3 16x7s you did, I guess a couple things go through my mind. Were they insulated? Any windows? Were they non-insulated? Also, were they at the same job site? And then how long did it take you? And did you have tear out? You know what I mean? Because if you got tear out, that's what adds up, you know, because you can only typically load so much into your vehicle, right? And then you got to imagine, right, when you load up those doors, I had this happen a lot. I take a van with me. I might have 2 doors in there, right, for 2 jobs. Well, you have to be really careful that you don't damage, you know, when you're putting the old stuff in there, taking care of the garbage. And then now this stuff's in your way, right? You're fighting, you're climbing over it, you're trying to get to your tools, you know, it's just like, it just turns into like a laundry basket where you just throw everything in there. So I'm just kind of curious, like, how long did that take you? Same job site, you know, because we used to, I think we got, some of the guys we get like 3, 4 was like really pushing it. Very, very long day. But that was just if everything fired right? The customer was home or the customer wasn't there. The door was open, the garage was clean, the car was out of the way. I mean, just firing on all cylinders. Boom, 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 boom. You know, but all it took was that customer wasn't home. You know what I mean? I had to wait an hour and a half for them to show up. You know, this and this just start going wrong. And, you know, you can do it. I think Rich would maybe, but it gets old. You know what I mean? Like it's like you almost start getting smarter. So you don't work harder, you work smarter. So you start working on better profitable jobs that You do one job that almost pays for those rest of those 3 jobs. Does that kind of make sense? Like, because your value of yourself goes up, and you're like, I don't need to go out here and whip out all these doors. What I need to do is do this one door for this one customer that understands my quality of work, my craftsmanship, is going to pay me what I'm worth, and I'm going to do this today, and I'm going to do a really good job. And I'm going to be also, because now I'm not going to go out tomorrow and do the same thing. I actually have time that if they have a problem, I can interact with them. I can go back and take care of them. But if you're out there just boom, 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 you got no time, and the customer gets upset, and they're gonna, all it takes nowadays is for them to get on the keyboard and blow your crap up and say, oh, this person, I've called and they said it's gonna be 2 days, but of course, the day they were there, they took my money right away, but now they won't come back out and take care of their warranty call, their service problem. My door's crooked because I stuck a broom in it, but I'm not gonna tell them that, that's how it goes. Says, what's up, Tanner? Glad you're here. It always feels like home when Rich B and Tanner, we're missing Tony. Tony, you out there? Look at this. We got 5 likes. I appreciate it. If you guys don't mind, just hit the like button. It just helps wake up everybody because, everybody's in napping mode right now. I'd appreciate it myself. Like I said, we got 5. We can get it up to, if we could shoot for like 10, I'd buy you a beer if we're going to the bar. If you're a local, I'll give you a cheers. This thing is really crazy. Details. No, this is not. Undo. Can I make this public? All I want to do is make this public for people to see. Share. Done. Got it. And save. We'll see if this works. There. Uploaded. Pete, you're welcome. Hope it helps you. Let me know if you need anything else on it. Says I painted the rim and hubs on the enclosed trailer today. Ooh, got a parade. We are in on Saturday and went to South Dakota to pick up a truck with Dad. Nice. Tanner, you have to let me know after you it takes a little bit of time. Why does it say private? God darn it. No, I want it public. There we go. Safe. And the parades, you know what? I was very disappointed. The parades just did not work for us. I did 2 parades. Now, I can't say they didn't 100%. The first parade I did, we did get one good customer. That was a lifelong customer. They make actually blocks for buildings, like your cinder blocks. Great people. The parade was he found us, so that was cool, right? That was the first one. I did one probably maybe about 4 or 6 years later. I had a big group, and not one feedback from that city. I mean? I was like so disappointed. Not like, oh wait, we seen you going through, blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. And so I look at it and I kind of wonder sometimes, I go, it doesn't hurt, right? Because all forms of advertising is better than no advertising. But it's just one of those things where it's like, until something happens, like the fire extinguisher, right? A fire extinguisher, you don't care about a fire extinguisher until there's a fire, right? And that's kind of how we are, right? Until the garage door breaks. I mean, we're not in typically the business of the home remodel where we do the kitchen and people are just like, oh, I'm shopping for the best cupboards and I'm gonna have this floor and I'm gonna have this wall color, my paint. We're kind of in at least in my area, typically, oh crap, this broke. I need to get this fixed. Let me just, look whoever, call 3 people, 4 people, 6 people, get prices, whoever answers their phone, whoever seems like they resonate, whoever my neighbor used. They're fun. Make sure you take lots of pictures because it'll be something for the memories. I just was scanning through a couple that I had because I was putting this video together for Pete. And like I said, make sure you take some pictures if you can. Even if you got a GoPro or anything or DJI or something like that, take some video, put a badge on you or something, like I said, a camera somewhere, hat, whatever, because save it. It's it's pretty cool because I see all the kids that we had and they've grown up a lot, and just uncles and aunts and their children and kids, and just it's really cool, you know, and just to see the what the weather was like and everything. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Definitely fun to do it. But do I plan on it anymore? I don't think so. I think it would be probably more focused on the Google ads, if anything, because you need to be on in the top there for when people are looking for you for certain things. The commercial, like I said, they're fun, but they're a lot of they eat up a lot of time. You know, like it's like a Saturday, and then there's the like you put a lot of time into it. Tanner knows what I mean by it. You know, you're getting everything ready, polished, rims painted, tires, you know, armor-alled, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it takes a lot of energy. You got to spend the whole day. You got to get up early. It's a lot. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. We're not bashing it. It's just, it's a lot of fun. Tanner, if you got another truck, you better, I want a picture. Is it for work or is this for Dad? Because I know you got the, I think you had the Chevy 2500, 3500. Says, what do you use? Angel, you gotta have to, I don't know what you meant by that. What do you use? You talking about for like we use Jobber or advertising? Is it Naito? Naito? The first. We'll say the first. Have you guys ever used Nextdoor? What's the catch with it, and is it good? So I'm gonna mention Nextdoor. I'm not a big heavy Nextdoor person, let's say, right, on advertising. This was a while back ago. They might have changed things. I didn't have a very good experience. What I'm getting at is you almost are better off doing the free version as yourself, a personal that's a free, your neighborhood. I feel like that got more attention than when I went to do a paid ad on there. The paid ad was very caveman-like. When you're filling out things and trying to understand how it was going to work, it might have changed. Now, I said this has been about a year now. Zero, a big fat zero. Now, with that being said, though, I did find a painter for one of the rentals on there. So take it with what you know what I mean. What I'm saying is you just might want to use the free version. Try that first, see if you get some kickback. If you feel like the commercial, you start getting into it and you're gonna pay some money and you're like, yeah, I think Uncle Dave said this thing is kind of garbage, and it feels like garbage, and it still is garbage, then I'd back out and just go, you know what, I'm just gonna keep doing the personal side of it, and we're just gonna roll with that and just keep, I think what it seems like, I'm not, like I said, an expert in any means, it seems like when you stay more on it, like you keep doing something every couple weeks, you know, hey, we're doing a special. Hey, doing a free lube job with a new install or whatever, you know, however you word it, phrase it. That gets people's attention. It feels fresh, you know, and they're like, oh, this person wants work. You know what I mean? I think so people are so programmed now that we're so used to like the dull and the hello. You know, like I had one guy, I remember he answered the phone. I think it was a contractor, and he's like, you know, it's like, damn. Hey, hi, is this like George Plumbing? Yeah. Okay, so I had to do your own introduction to your business. Okay, I got it. Hey, so like let's go through this together. So do you do plumbing on? Yeah. Okay. I don't think we're gonna be a good like. It sounds like you need to go back to sleep or lay back down, or I think I'm gonna call somebody else. You know what I mean? That's why it's kind of like it's important how you answer the phone, how you treat people, you know. And like I said, I'm a type even like I get it, right? I catch you in a sneeze or something, or they drop the phone by accident. Hey man, stuff happens. I get it. But when it's just like constant, hey, I got to put the stuff in this guy's mouth, and he just says yes or no. You know. So, like I said, stay fresh. Google likes that stuff too. You know, if you're putting pictures on there, addresses, all that stuff. You know, if you have actually a physical location is nice. It likes that kind of stuff. Which says what you said. What's Alex got here? Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Says most new houses around here have a double and single door. Okay, and openers go on double, sometimes in both doors. 50-50 on 7 and 8-foot doors. Okay, okay. Yeah, we used to get a lot of that. Like we worked for or we didn't work, but we come behind the builders and they'd be like, they wanted $800 to put up an opener, and I'm like, dang. I'm like, we only charge $450 or $475, and we were still making money, and so they would hire us to come in, because the builder would just do certain minimums, like outlets. I remember this was quite a few years ago, but the homeowner would be complaining, like, yeah, if we want an additional outlet in the garage, it's like another $75. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, like, I get it, but you know how it was? It was like you always pull up and be like, oh, nice garage door. It'd always have like the fancy hardware on it, but then you go inside and you're like, oh, non-insulated, really? And there's a bedroom above here? Like, what were they thinking? Well, they were thinking about the women. That's what they're thinking about. They pull up and, oh, it's so beautiful. Yeah, you got the cheapest of the cheap. Does the man door even come with insulation in it? Does it even have weather seal? Says, when the customer's not home, we offer to cut whole top section and, oh, nice, and pull a cable to get in. Just make sure you have the, that's what I was thinking, is have the right address. Because I'll tell you a little story one time. We were doing this for a fence company. We ended up becoming friends, but at the time it was just a brand new customer. He just bought this building. And I tell you what, there was one garage door on the front of this building, right? In the back was an alley. And I remember we get there, and the guy's not answering the phone. It just felt like the guy is like probably doing drugs. That's what it just felt like. And he's not there. And I got one of those days, guys. You know how it is, where I gotta get going, man. I got 4, 5, 6, 10 jobs I gotta get done today. And I remember it was like a wood door or something. It was pretty rotten, right? So, I mean, I wasn't Hercules, but man, I was just like, we gotta get in here. So I remember I just started smashing my hand through there. I got a hole in it, and I'm like, I peeked in the hole. There's literally a guy that's looking at me in a tent, in like, inside the garage, like he's inside the building, in a tent, unzipped, with a shotgun. And he's looking at me, and I'm like, I said, hey, we're just here to change the garage door out. And he's like, and he wasn't all, he was just sitting there just kind of like, and I'm like, we just got to change the garage door. And so anyways, we start ripping the door out, right? The guys are busting it. I think I had 2 other guys with me. I was way, way overstaffed on it, but I was in training or something like that. These guys are just rocking it. We forgot something, right? As we're stacking the door. I'm like, all right, well, I'll just walk around the building. You know what? The guy's still not there. So I end up walking around the building. I'm looking for a man door. There's 4 more garage doors in the back of this building. And the one that I just busted out, the one in the back that I didn't see, looks 3 times worse than this one. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What if I'm ripping out the wrong door? So, I mean, I'm like, burp, 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 on the phone. I'm like, hey, you wanted the front one done, right? I mean, where all the customers are coming, right? I mean, that makes a lot of, and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, like, yeah, I freaked out. And I also did it one other time. We were at a neighbor's house, right? This is like, these were like rental houses. They were built back in 70s or something, maybe. They all look kind of the same on a main road. And we start pulling up there. We start doing stuff. We're getting close to maybe yanking the top panel out or something. We're getting, and all of a sudden the neighbor lady comes out. She's like, hey. She's like, what are you guys doing? Well, and we knew it was a tenant, right? So we're just like, oh, she probably really, we're like, we're here to change the garage door. I don't think it's supposed to be here. Oh, no. Let me go check paperwork. We're like 1 number off. It's the next one over. I'm like, oh my gosh. We were so close to like having everything ripped out and install a new door. Because it was only a little 8x7 or something like that, not insulated. So that's why it's very important. I had a technician do this at an apartment complex. He thought he had the right doors, the right building, tore all of them. I think there was like 10 doors there. Tore them all out. The property manager shows up, those are the wrong doors. I'm like, oh my. He was nice enough that he stayed. I mean, he stayed till it was like 10 midnight. He put all the doors back in. Luckily, he didn't destroy them bad enough. And he had to go over to the other spot. And I told him, I said, dude, I said, this is why. I said, you need to make sure you have the customer. I don't care if they put like an X on it with electric tape or a sticker with, labels. I said, they need to label the doors. Like, you just can't go off, like, and plus nobody was there. And they're communicating text. So that all can get real hairy on you. Tanner's got here. It says, we have a development. We are doing 96 18 by 7 openers, install black 2-inch door, top row windows. They're mostly right next to each. And we can get 4 openers done in a decent day, maybe between 5 and 6 going homes if there are no obstructions. Nice. Yeah, it makes a big difference. Like I said, if you don't have to travel's the big one, right? Because you get stuck in traffic, the lights and everything, all that stuff eats up time. But if you just have things that are cookie cutter and a builder that's good, that knows how to make the jams the way they're supposed to be, life can be really good and things can go really fast. And if everything's built the same, like, you already know what to cut your angle, your back hangs and stuff like that, you can just get to be like when we did storage roll-up doors, storage units, you could just fly. You know how it is. It's like, it always seems like the last 5, you're an expert. You can get them done with your eyes closed. You know what I mean? Because now you got all the tooling, everything set up. You got it down where your first, whatever, 5, 6, 8, whatever, you're kind of struggling to. I call it the pecking order. Figure out who's doing what and what makes the most sense. Who's the strongest at whatever position. Solo act here. Says, does Michigan have wind load regulations? No, we were supposed to, but I haven't heard of any that came through. So, but we're really self-conscious on that. Like, some of the farms, some of the areas that are next to the lakes, I'm kind of like, for myself anyways, I'm always an overkill. So like, if we have a door that's going to get 3 struts and there's like two sections that don't, I'm always really consistent typically. I think Cap is pretty much on the same page now too, where it's like, just order it all with struts. You know what I mean? That way you don't even got to think about it. Just put struts on all of it. And that way no equal. I've had customers call it out very rarely and they go, why is there like, those 2 sections don't have struts on them? I'm like, well, you got to even it out. And it's just psychological. And like I said, I don't like to think about it. I just rather strut it and be done with it. If they're getting struts, it don't take me that much longer, especially if it's engineered for it too, the springs and everything. Everybody, yeah, we are in 2 parades this year. I'll let you know if it pays out. He says the wife had me buy 500 in damn candy. But I got the good stuff. Nice. Yeah, it was like weird too, because it's like changed over the years, at least for our parades. You used to be able to like whip it out right from the parade, the float itself. And the next one we went to, it changed, where they actually have to hand it. So I had to bring more people almost, so they could, run up to the kids on the side, so you had a group of people on each side that could literally walk up to them and, hand out the candy and stuff like that. But there's a lot of, not a lot, but there's just a lot of variables, to that stuff too. Like I said, what time are you gonna get there? It's morning. You got to get set up. Typically, you got to. Maybe Tanner knows. What do you got to pay? Typically, we had to pay to be in the parade of some sort. I don't think it was an astronomical number, but you had to pay. You got to get the. We had the truck and everything, and then we got to bring coolers. Make sure you bring coolers. You got to bring the drinks for everybody. Let's see here. says it was for Dad, just a runaround truck, and take my door scrap to the scrap yard. He has 25 Dodge. Okay, didn't want to take. Oh, I get that. I get that. It's too nice. Didn't want to take that. I got more reasonable truck for those applications. LOL. You know, something just to always think about, Tanner. I know, like I said, I'm definitely not telling you how to do your thing. You know what's best. You're a smart man. Just something I put out there for anybody in a sense. But I remember one time, my old a friend, you know what they would do. They had the room for it though. That they would stockpile it, right? Instead of making all those trips, and then they would call a company in, so they didn't really have to pay rent on a dumpster, right? That did scrap metal, and they'd have them bring it in. They'd kind of have their day orchestrated. I think they did it kind of day by day, so they have it dropped off at a certain time during the day. They knew, hey, they're gonna load it up. It'd get emptied out at one point, next one. So they would do it that way, and that was just nice because it just. But I know how it is. Dads and stuff like that, they like. Whatever, extra money for them. So that was one way, right? For us, we eventually went to the dumpster because we found a company. We had to search around. Company doesn't charge anything to have the dumpster there. So we can have it as long as we want. And they just take the scrap metal and they actually will give us back. They take a little bit, right? They take a little percentage, but they also, they'll send us money for the scrap. And that's worked out really good because it just, basically it gave me more manpower. Right? So now I don't have somebody out doing something like for your dad if he's kind of a runner for you too. It's just one more think about that maybe he's more free. I just want to put it out there for anybody because I just didn't know those things existed. I used to have a trailer. We used to fill a trailer up. The trailer would always get overloaded or overfilled. We'd take it to the scrap. We get flat tires. We had to go in there. It was, trust me, it was nice. You get a little extra cash when they used to pay good. It seems like scrap metal's not as good as it used to be. It seems like when we have high gas prices, scrap prices are high. Not always. I'm just saying that's what it feels like to me. Says, did get enclosed trailer wrapped for the business last Friday. Nice. Love it. Is it Smithy? I don't know how to say the first part. Is there good money in garage door alignments, springs, and new openers and things like that? Says I follow this guy on TikTok that makes like 5+ for 30 minutes repairs. Well, who's this guy? Tell me who this guy is. I want to know who this guy is. Because there is a guy out there that seems to be procrastinating some stuff that isn't really true. It all depends on how you orchestrate it, right? It's kind of like how good do you take care of your woman, right? That's how good she'll take care of you. It's kind of a love, hate, marriage, everything in a combined. Oh, hey, by the way, we're at 9. We got 9 likes. If we can get up to 10, I'm super happy if we get 10. Like I said, I'd really appreciate it. But, I think everybody has different opinions and different locations, and it just all depends. A lot of it, like, if you're in a rural area, it just depends. I mean, if you only got a population of 500 people around you in the closest, 40 to 100 miles, yeah, it might be a tough market. Like a side hustle, sure. There's money. It really depends on what your threshold and what you say no to and how you calculate things. Yeah, it can be good money, and you might have to go through, 3 or 5 or 6 customers, and you find that one good customer that understands what you're worth and what your value is, or you find that one golden egg, basically. But is it just a cash cow and, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a millionaire? Probably not. There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of advertising, shirts, stickers. You need some tools, which it's not undoable or unbearable. But it's one of those things that it's like, you gotta remember, like I've been into it for 18 years, and basically kind of got bought out, got my freedom in a sense. But I still it's kind of in your blood. It's kind of like truck driving. It gets in your blood. Do people make a living? Yeah. Do people buy Ferraris every weekend? No. You know, um, it's just all how you kind of how you mess with it, how you do it, how you do it. All right, man, we got up to 10 likes. I appreciate it. See you later. I'm out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm still here. But ask questions. Like I said, I love it. I love it. But Smithy, if you can let me know, like I said, let me know who this cat is that's making this. I like to know. 'Cause I like to kind of see these guys. So we know there's the one that likes to promote some stuff, and I'm like, man, he made $2,000 doing a spring job? I'm like, what? I'm like, no. And I've been hearing a little bit more and more about this kind of stuff. It's getting to be almost a little bit irritating because I think that's false. Let's see here. What am I trying to get to? There we go. Perfect. At least it looks like it went up. Tanner puts it right out there. He's like, the garage door trading school. He says that guy is a joke. It's not real. He's a scammer. No comment. No comment. I don't know if he's got any recent videos or anything. I haven't watched any of his new stuff. But yeah, I think honestly, I kind of think about this, and it looks like there's 8 of you guys watching, so we're good, right? This isn't going to get spread out anywhere. Honestly, if you're going to spend maybe, I don't know what the exact numbers are, let's just say figures of, $1,200, $1,500, $1,600. You can just pay me that. I'll come work with you for a couple days. You know what I mean? I'll train you the right way. We'll get on some jobs because, man, that's just like, to me, that's just, I just need enough to, cover a hotel, some fuel, and all that good stuff. Like I just, Uncle Dave's I'm going to show you the right way because I'm going to tell you the good and bad. And that's what's great because you guys can always email me. Some of you got my number. You can always text me too. And I appreciate all the love and support. I love the pictures and everything. And make sure I get some pictures of this parade, man. I want to see this truck all decked out in the van and everything, or what you got going. I want to see those painted rims, man. I want to make sure you worked hard on them. It's a lot of fun. It's just something. I think the first one, when I did my parade, I had a beat up, what did I have? It was a Honda. I can't think of what it was though. It was like a 1987 Honda. I like rolled painted. My wife did. I can't remember who did it because it was ugly brown. So we painted it black, and it was a stick shift, good on gas, cheap car, real cheap. I got it from my cousin. Anyways, I built a kind of a makeshift garage on the front of my float, and then I had an old wood door that we took out, right? And so then I had my car. Man, I wish I had pictures. I don't know if I have pictures of it. I don't think I do. I had a picture I had my car smashing into the garage door, right? That was on my float. And then I had we had on the signs, we had our name and everything, and, garage door was all smashed in, from the car, in a sense. It was pretty cool. I'm trying to think what I pulled it with. I don't know. Maybe I had one of my diesel trucks or something at the time. Then the second one, I don't remember what we did really on the second one. I think we just took the truck. We had the Raptor. So I took the Ford Raptor, and it was all wrapped, and then we just had coolers and all the stuff right in the back, and everybody, I had a whole crew, big crew of people with me, and we walked down and everything. It was fun. Like I said, just take lots of pictures, put it on something that you won't lose. Like, it's probably maybe on an old phone. I don't know if I even have the phone anymore. It's gone. Or if you can put it like in the cloud or Polaroid. I don't care how you do it, but just something that you won't lose, because it's just something that's cool to look back on. What's Alex guy? It says nice. He says Minnesota's wind load regulations. Oh yeah, it says 16x7 get 3-inch struts. Get a 3-inch strut on each section. Wow. 3-inch even, not just a 2-inch, a 3-inch. Stem bottom, he says rollers. Okay, long stem bottom rollers. Okay, extra jam brackets. Additional screws for each jam. Really? Man, Alex, either shoot me an email, or if you shoot me an email, I'll get you my phone or something. Like, say you can shoot me a picture or something, because it says extra screws for each jam bracket. Is that like on the track or is that like in the wood? Because like where do you put it without splitting stuff? Or the brackets got like certain, that'd just be kind of interesting to see. It says Wayne Dalton's wind loader are much more annoying to install. That's good to know because I remember that was the one our sales lady said it was down, I think, in Florida, which would make sense. Then she said, "Oh, it's coming here. It's coming here. It's going to be wind loaded." And I don't know. That's been, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, and we still haven't had where we're required. You know what I mean? I'm sure you know how it is. If you ask Gadget Inspector, they want everything, but we just always kind of use common sense. You know, we know when we get in certain spots, it's like, yeah, this is not like, you're gonna want something a little more supreme here. Do. Says Wayne Dawn. Let's NATO the first. He says it also depends where you're located at. But even then, those prices are just crazy. Yeah, especially if it's the one guy. He's a little nutso on that. Like I said, and it's just a matter of the long story short is, in my opinion, is if you're going to start investing into something, you might want to start doing something that's a little more, it can rejuvenate on itself a little bit. You guys can throw me some examples if you know any. Sometimes I think of like vending machines. Well, why vending machines? Well, you're going to spend the time to build these customers in the garage door business, right? And they're going to come and they're going to go, and some are going to retire, some are going to leave, some are just not going to use you for whatever, right? But if you did vending, and not to say that that doesn't have its own, but it's something that, let's say it's for a shop, a factory, right? 24/7 almost, in a sense, you know, for 3 shifts, right? That thing is generating money. And when you think about the garage door sometime, you got to remember that the only way you make money is actually going out and doing the work. And yes, the vending machines, right? But you're there, you fill it, and you're serving. Think about how many people you're serving. And I know we're talking about, you know, dimes and nickels and quarters here. You know what I mean? But if you can start spanning that out, that's when it starts building, right? You got to imagine everything. Like, I remember how this guy told me one time. He says, you know, in the garage door business, he says, you kind of get punished. And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, you do a good job. He says, you don't get rewarded for doing a good job. There's kind of a caveat to that, right? Obviously, you don't have to go back and do a callback. People are going to recommend you, right? But what his point was that you're not getting residual money off of that. Yes, maybe the neighbor talks about you, and yes, you know, but what I'm saying is you typically always have to physically go out and chase the next dollar. And what you do is a service. What you have to remember is that you are a craftsman, and that you typically aren't going to probably find somebody that's going to be as good a craftsman as you. And it's hard to delegate that, right? But when you think about it, like when you're digging a hole, it's not that hard to dig a hole. Like anybody can kind of dig a hole, right? You can do a pretty crappy job, but you still dug a hole. Garage doors aren't like that. I mean, you do something wrong, goes cables off, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to kind of think a little bit. Like for me, I love the rentals because I never have to sell. There is such a demand for people that want affordable housing. It's unbelievable. And yes, you can deal with, it has this thing, but every day you're constantly building, and you have something that's an asset that goes up, right? When houses go crazy, I don't care because I have an asset that goes up too, right? The houses all go up. So you have something that you can sell. You have something that you can hand down to your children. There's just things that you have to think about, you know, like I said, and everybody's different. And I don't try to bash it by any means because garage doors is a great way to make a living. There's a lot of freedom into it. There's a lot of beautiful things. But sometimes I just look at it and I go, vending machines, maybe porta johns, maybe dumpsters, maybe rentals, maybe storage units. You know, and obviously it all depends on your level, right? If you got no money, well, you got to make some money. You know, if you got money, You want to invest some money, well, maybe you want to do this or do that. You know, you just got to constantly look at maybe, you know, stock market, even investing. There's just so many options, and you got to learn what the techniques of all this stuff are. Let me see if I can do something. I might pause just for a second. Just bear with me. Keep those things coming. Like I said, let me know what you think. We're back. Had us in a text. Okay, perfect. Okay, weighing down wind loads. It says also depends where you're located. Prices are just crazy. All right, what we got? Obviously I'm new since I'm asking about it, which is fine. I love the new guys. Like I said, that's what I thrive on. You know what I mean? Because we got a great community, great guys here. Got a lot of information here, a lot of intelligent people. Just trying to have a little side hustle to help pay for college this upcoming year. Heck yeah, man, do it up. Then it's great. It's great for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? If you're kind of mechanically inclined, you got a little bit of electronical smarts in you, you know, like low voltage stuff, and just, you know how to read a manual. It's a great business. Like I said, you know, you can do a lot. It's just sometimes I worry about those guys that were like me, that you start going really fast and you start thinking, oh my gosh, I'm just, you know, it just doesn't ever stop. I can start getting the multiple trucks, and I'll start doing multiple locations, and I keep, you know, and you can realize, especially if you start in a family, you got to think about these kids and stuff. You know what I mean? When these kids start growing up, what you got, sports events, you got all this, and you think right now, when you're young, you can put in the time. But when you start getting a little bit older, and your kids start getting a little bit older, that's when you got, you know, hey, you need to take them to the park. Hey, you need to take them to the school event. You got to go to the soccer game. You got to go to the volleyball game. Those are the things where all of a sudden you realize you can't be putting in 16 hours a day, you know, and because those are the things that you want to spend time with. And then when you think, sometimes you start thinking, well, I'll just hire somebody. Okay. You know, and when they don't show up that day and you had to work twice as hard, there's a lot of things that can compound. Where I think about something like, let's say vending machines. You already got 5 locations, 6, 10 locations, right? You can do it, right? You can hire a young kid of some sort, and you're like, look, you open up the door, you do this, right? There's going to be a little hiccups here and there. But when it comes to that, you know, like I said, with doors and stuff, you got to watch some of that stuff, because you put a scratch, the opener's not working. I've had, you know, people with power outages or the disconnect. I can't tell you how many people I've had pull the disconnect, and they're like, my garage door don't work anymore. And I'm like, well, you pulled the disconnect, you got to re-engage it. And it's like, I can still show them, and they still screw it up. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, why, you know? Says the jam brackets have a tiny hole for one screw to help the bracket from lifting and turning. Okay. I think it's silly, but apparently we could be at fault if we don't include the screws. I didn't know that. I've seen a lot of the flag brackets always have that. I felt like it was back in the day, because the old timers I've come across, I'm sure maybe some of you guys, like they'll use those nails. I forget what they're called. You can yank them out because they got a head on them. They got 2 heads on them. So when you pound it in, it leaves a chunk out so you can pull it out. I'd see them use that hole. That's what they put their track up with. And then then they put screws. So it was like normally the wood legs, you know, like the square heads. And I thought, heck yeah, I could see why they wanted to use a hammer to put up the track, and then they go behind with their hand crank. I'd love to see those old school, like if anybody ever comes across like an old video of somebody installing a garage door, send it my way, because that'd be really cool. Like it's like, it'd be so cool if you could pull them out of the grave right now and show them where we're at with technology, impacts, screw guns, you know, cordless drills. And I mean, they'd just be like, you guys got it made. You guys are such a bunch of pansies. If I would have had that, I'd get 12 doors done a day. You know? And you're only getting 4? What is it? Maybe about 9:45 or so here. I'll jump off here. This screw's going into, this is the additional screws go into the wall. Oh, what's up, Mr. Kevin? You been hanging out, hiding? Where you been? Didn't know anything used those little screws usually. He says, only see them on old doors that have square legs. Exactly. Duplex. Duplex. See, man, Rich has always got, man. Rich, are you adopting? Can you adopt me? You're like the dad I need that beats me. You adopt me? They're called duplex nails. Oh, that's right. That works out good. Yeah, I used to see them quite a bit, those little holes. I thought some models still had them. So to me, it's like, it's not that big a deal for the stamping, for them to put that hole in there. You know, it's, I was just thinking like, if it was like a bigger bracket with like more leg power, you know, like 2 legs you put in there. So that was what kind of got me. But with the screw, I guess, you know what I mean? Like, I guess if it's obviously going through maybe into the next board behind it and stuff. I had one before. This was an airplane hangar. Huge doors, man, super tall. I remember I bought this huge ladder, like the biggest ladder. I think it was like from Menards. I don't know what it stretched out to, like 40 foot or something. I needed every bit of it. And I remember the door, the wind blew it, right? And it had wood bucks on the side, but it was a concrete building and the wood pulled off on one side. The whole door was like twisted. And oh, I remember I started climbing up that ladder, and I mean, I'm beating on the boards because all I had. I didn't have a scissor lift at the time. And I screw by screw, I kept pounding that board in, trying to work it against that wall as the wind's still blowing, trying to get this door to like leave the building. I don't know if I was ever more scared in my life. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, up on a ladder and you're like holding these boards, you're trying to put pressure. You got I think I even had a screw gun that had an extension cord at the time. We didn't have impacts. You know, it was pretty young into my career. And it was like one of those jobs, like we walked in there and it was like, I just wanted to be like, we can't service you. We got to go. Because it was definitely beyond my scope, you know, not having a scissor lift for one. And, you know, corded drill, you know, and anchors on you. I mean, and then you know how it is, like when you're on a ladder, you have no leverage to like push the board. So you just had to keep worming it up there. Dang, Kevin says, just got here. He says, been detailing a vet for a show this weekend. Nice. Anything spectacular with the show? I mean, just kind of a regular car show, or is it like is it a parade, or is it just kind of a get together for some guys, or anything special going on, or is it just kind of a something you do every year? Just kind of curious. Says, if you could have a day, one of one, with a garage door engineer, what would you ask him to change to make them better or easier to install? Boy, I like that. That's a good one. There's a lot of moving parts in that, you know what I mean? But honestly, I mean, my first thing, because I remember when I went and visited the Wayne Dalton plant, I think down in Ohio. And I remember at the time when I was there, my biggest frustration was not having the correct parts. That's what really upset me. We were having problems with flag brackets, you know, like on the vertical, the very top. We had problems with those just not being in the box. We had problems with the flag bracket that went on the horizontal piece too. Those would be missing. We got to a point where I was so upset. Like, I literally kept thinking, I'm gonna build a freaking wall, and I'm gonna put every door together on, like, here at the shop. You know what I mean? I'm gonna put it together right here. Everything's gonna be here. All the hinges are here. All the rollers are here. All the drums are here. Everything's here. and then I'm gonna tear it all back down and put it in a box. And it's gonna have the seal of approval of Uncle Dave inspected this, it's good to ship. That was probably my biggest thing. Because across the board, you know, most things never, like, you know, like Amar used to have that funky hinge. I could live with it, whatever, you know what I mean? But if you don't have it, that was my biggest complaint. If they don't send you a slide lock, if they don't send you a foot peg, a handle, if they don't send you a rope, or just the correct hardware, right? They don't send you the right springs. They send you 2 left springs when it's supposed to be right and a left. You know, things that become kind of like, this is obvious. This isn't the first time. You know, I get like when, I don't know, maybe go through 100 doors and you get one that's off. Something happened, right? But quality control is my biggest grief. Quality control, because when you're an installer or a self-entrepreneur, I mean, you got enough things on your head, right? You got the customers, you got new sales, you got ordering. I mean, your brain is just, and to have a part missing, and now you got to tell the customer because you don't have it on your truck, right? And I know everybody in the perfect world, well, you know, you should carry extra. Well, it doesn't always work that way, because you might have used it yesterday and forgot to restock it, whatever. That was my biggest thing. Please, quality control. You know, and some of these guys just do weight, so it seems like they just sprinkle nuts and bolts in there and they go, it's good when it's missing 2 hinges. And you know how it is. You get those certain customers that the hinges need to look all the same, right? Now you got these goofy, you know, yours look like chrome compared to theirs that look like galvanized. They're like, you know how it's going to be like that door that walks out. It's a brand new house or something, and it's like, now you're just sitting there like, God darn it, son of a biscuit. Why did they, you know, all those things. Great question. Got more? Bring them out. Hello, kitty. Let's see here. To the garage door better. But like I said, if you guys watching want to also comment on that, like I said, if you could talk to an engineer, what would be something that you'd ask them to change? You know, because I think that's a great question. I really do. There's just, like I said, we just did the Horman doors and with Josh, you know, and they work, you know. My biggest thing was I don't like the hinges on them because I can't grab the center, and I try not to touch the door. I try not to touch the door and get the door dirty because I'm lazy and I don't want to clean the door. You know what I mean? So I don't like touching the door all with gloves on and getting fingerprints everywhere, and then got to go back and eyeball everything. I like I try to grab the hinges when they protrude out, and everything is grab the hinges, and then when you grab the bottom of the door, try to do it flat-handed, you know, so you don't grab the bottom of the door and leave fingerprints. That's my only thing with the Harman. They got their own hinges, whatever. I can live with it. It'll work, you know. They want to reinvent the wheel, go for it. Says Angel's Guy. He says, have you done a residential garage door install video? If not, you should. I might. I just had somebody reach out to me actually today through my little beta test, and I told him I would contact him because I wanted to jump on here with you guys. I said, I'll contact you tomorrow. We'll go over some details. But it looks like they're going to have to get their door replaced. And just from the looks of it, it looked like it's a 10 or 12 by 7, 12 by 8. I do have a couple. I think I have one video out there I did with a residential install. But you know how it is, residential installs. I mean, the thing is, there's so many different makes and models, and there's different ways. But I can show you some little tricks like I do, like when I worked with Josh, great dude. You know, but like I noticed, like I don't think he uses tables, and so like I use tables to keep everything elevated, because once you start getting older, you don't like bending over. Tables, sawhorses, anything to kind of help start preserving your body is always a win in my book. Rich says, father-in-law us to use a father-in-law used to use a electric impact. It says weight. It says about 5 pounds and a cord to drag along. I know, man. here I am crying about climbing up a 40-foot ladder and my, my little extension cord. I didn't have the money to buy the nicer impacts. I had the hammer drill. And that was like until I started working on some of the jobs with like construction guys, and like I'd see their stuff in a box and they have like those mini impacts, for like drilling into concrete. I'm like, dude, that looks super nice. He's like, oh, it's great. And then they like let me use it or play around with it. And I was just like, I'm not giving it back. They're like, you have to. I'm like, where'd you get this? They're like, from the DeWalt place in Grand Rapids. It's only an hour and a half away. I'm like, I'm going there right now. And then you buy it and you're in love with it. It says regular first one I've had time for this year. Nice. Yeah, it's nice to make time. I just had the Dodge in, transmission shot. Was it a 4L60? It puked out. So the Dodge is in. Had to get the transmission repaired. Fun. DeWalt corded. I started things weigh a ton. I know, isn't it weird? Like I still remember when I think when I started, I don't think we started out with the cord, but I remember we started out with the DeWalt 18 volt drill. And then Fastenal was the only place at the time that had a magnet bit 7/16 magnet bit. So we had our DeWalt 18 volt with a magnet bit, and we felt like we were King Tuck. Like we were just unstoppable. And then they started coming out with the Impact. And it was like, we kind of, watch it from afar, somebody construction-wise using it for tin or metal or something. It's like, that's silly. I don't know why we'd ever use that. And it's like we get our hands on one, like somebody like, here, dude, look, this chuckle actually, your one that you got for your drill, just, it pops in there and you're like, it doesn't even fall out. And it's like, you're like, whoa, okay. Yeah, but it's still not as strong. It's not as fast. No. Then you like use it, and then you realize, right, after using a drill for X amount of years and on a ladder, and you didn't have the chuck set right, and that thing smack in the face, about knock you off the ladder. You hold on, you just wonder what happened to your life, oh, don't do that again. Then you start using that Impact, right, and it fits in nice tight spots. Oh, I can get around the side. I can do my 9/16 bolts, and stuff like that. Oh, that's nice. And then as you notice, as you drill into things, it's not smacking you in the face, kicking you off the ladder. And finally you cave and you're like, I gotta get one of these. And you do. And now they're just like, I thought they came out with a hydraulic one. Has anybody used a hydraulic? I don't know if they're any like superior or better. I'm waiting for them to come out with one that's just called the silent driver. So you don't have to listen to that loud impact anymore, because I'm getting old, So I want the silent one. That's all I want now. Do you nail your sections in place or do track first? I don't nail the sections. I just work with the track when I do it. So I put like the bottom panel in. I'll make sure it's sitting level, and then I just work off the track. I'll put the tracks on both sides. I'll put a couple screws in. Shoot for the center. I eyeball everything, I look down, look at where my rollers are at, and then I just start working my way up, My buddy used to level, I watched him one time, he's like, you measure this, he measures out everything, and then he leveled. And then we still had to adjust everything. And I was like, what the heck's the point of this? Like, this is silly, you know what I mean? And then I've seen guys where they'll put sections, they'll ping a nail over or whatever. It just seems like more added steps that I don't like, you know what I mean? So me and the track, we just roll. And it just works, and if it works for you that you do the nails or whatever, it's kind of like I need to make a video on the whole, like a lot of guys use vice grips. And so somebody commented on that one video, I think I did the spring turner, and they were like, wait, you don't use vice grips to do your springs? I'm like, no. Like, I don't know if I was just taught because it's weird because most of my guys were taught by my foremans, and my foremans actually did the vice grips. So anytime I work with them, I'm like, I don't need no stinking vice grips. And you know, because I wind the spring and the spring is my vice grip, and then I let it rest and I tighten things down and I get everything all set up, and then I go from there. But it's just, you know, I look at it like if that's how they feel safe and they work safe and that's their voodoo, go for it. You know what I mean? I have nothing against it because I'd like to do it against somebody, but I don't have somebody I feel confident enough in that we wouldn't race, where we would actually do it in our own pace. You know what I mean? And I thought about maybe I could just do it. Maybe I could just do it my own. You know what I mean? But you know how it is. I might be biased, and then I might be like, oh, hurry up a little bit on this or something. You know. So I've been trying to like think of like, it'd be nice to know like what, you know, because to me it's like if you add a vice grip to it or two or whatever, how you do it, you know, that's more time and more steps in my brain. It says it says, okay, it says, I would have them engineer develop an easy to install T-lock. Basically, it would be made so that it takes you the same amount of time as it would take you to install a slide. I really hate T-locks. That is true. That is true. The T-locks are kind of a pain. And then it's always like the positioning. I think on the T-locks, when I think about it, it seems like on the section, they never have like a really good spot. You know what I mean? Like sometimes in the back where they're supposed to be punched out, it seems like they're kind of low in the section. Like I'm kind of like a middle of the section, but I know that sometimes when it's just not right. They're goofy. They're definitely goofy. Like I'm always like, I wish they were already installed. Like I could just pay a premium, you know, like 20, 40 bucks, and they would just do it from the factory, then put more packaging. And that way I could just open up the packaging. I'm like, there it is. It's already installed. Like I just got to hook up the, whatever, the sides or something with the cables. Because like the drilling part is like nerve wracking, especially when you're already having a hard enough day. The customer's out there, and you're dealing with all those situations. Now you're sitting there drilling, right? And you slip with the drill and you're like, you're like, oh, you didn't see that, right? There's so many things I wish, like, you know, if they're there for making money, right? These factories are for making money. I'm always like, I don't even understand why they don't even offer it. It seems like where they say, well, you know, it costs so much. I'm like, well, how much? And they go, well, it's probably $150. I'm like, maybe I'll pay it. Maybe I'll pay another extra $150 for it to be installed from the factory. You know what I mean, like that saves my measuring and level and time and drill and you know, like that's just like, you know how it feels like that's not your department. It's kind of like when you got to do the outside decoration, right? It's like I'd rather just be done from the factory because then I'd be like, "Oh, this is the brochure. This is you know, it looks just like the brochure. This is what you want." You know, where it's like, you know, I always have to have the customer come out. And I'm always like, so what I used to do, little pro tip, I would actually buy the magnets. I don't like the magnets because they move sometimes. So I don't really recommend the magnets. But what I would do is I'd put the magnets on and then I'd have the customer come out and I'm like, this is how you like it, right? This is look good. This look good. You want this one on this section, you know? Because I like them a little closer. Can you put the handles up higher? Because some people, mines are all different, man. And they come out and they go, we like it, whatever. Okay. And then I put on the permanent hardware. You know what I mean? So maybe carry a set of magnets for your outside decor. I hate outside stuff. Hate it with a passion. Even though it's got a lot of give and it's really not that bad, I still to this day do not like it. Like it's all like you could almost not pay me enough. Like if they were to say, we added another $1,000 on top of it, I'd think, oh, okay, I don't feel so bad now. But when it's like, whatever, you're getting 50, 100, 200 bucks, I'm like, oh, for the headache and the stress, and you lost a screw that was a black one. Now you got to find a screw and you got a permanent marker. This will work for about 2 days until it rains. Yes. Yeah. I'll have to come back another time. I gotta get another bag. Says I can install a whole garage door for or an opener and clean up everything at the same time. He says, hey, you nailed it. Nito, you nailed it, man. You nailed it, man. I agree. The T-locks, man. Totally agree. Totally agree. I don't. They're right there with What do you think's worse? Do you think the T-locks or do you think the outside decor is worse? You know, because they're right on the same level for me. I just it's like, oh, like I said, I'd probably pay whatever they want for them to install the darn things from the factory. You know, if they packaged them and they were good, because like I said, they always just take up more time. You know, and then if you don't got good drill bits, you don't got the right drill bits, you got to punch through, you got the, you know, they give you little shims and all this crap, and you're sitting there like, you know, they give you, you know, it's the only thing in the garage door world now that they give you extra of, and you're always looking at it all like, oh my gosh, which one do I use? You know, well, this one's made for insulated, this is made for triple insulated, this is made for double wash, you know, you know, you try one, you're like, okay, we're almost there. We bottomed out on the T handle, you know, when you were doing the backside. You almost need like another person, right? I've taken, when I've worked by myself, I've literally taken like tape, you know, tape the other side. So like, when you're working, you don't push it out. Different things, all kinds of different things to keep them, you know, you're sitting there like holding on to it, little pliers or something, you know, keeping it from popping out, just all kinds of things. Says, I'd love to watch an install video just to learn some tips and tricks from someone with your experience. It says, I'm new to this, so all your videos help. Awesome, appreciate it, Angel. What, Angel, where are you located? What state you in? What you need to do is you just get a job and I'll come down there and help you out. Like I said, we'll whip out a resi. We'll do a resi, get a resi knocked out. There's a lot of videos. It's really, you know, I think it's kind of like the builders, you know, like builders are very, you know, not all of them, but they're all, you know, tape measures and everything. You know, garage doors are more, like to me is always, it's make it happy. Make it happy. It's got to breathe. You know, it's got to be happy. Track's got to move. You know, roller's got to slide in and out. And I know it's easy to say when you've done it for years, but it's really not too bad once you kind of figure out the algorithm of it. And there's just like really there's like some little pointers that I can like teach people. That the rest of it's just all kinds of like numbers and decimals. And it seems like, you know, the rest of it's just like, you know, you just got to get certain things leveled and then you're kind of off to the races. And then look at this when you get to this point. But it's not really bad. Like I said, it's just when you're skilled, it's many years, you know what I mean? It's just every time you do something, you learn. I still learn to this day. You know, I learned something, a week or two ago with Josh. Learned a lot of things actually, you know, like I said, just to see how people do stuff, you know, and how they came up with that and why, you know, he said, hey, I was doing it by myself. This is why I do it. This is the fastest way. I think he had a good idea. I'm going to show it in a video. I'll see what your guys' opinion on it was. It's pretty cool. But I would never thought of it, right? Because I'm programmed with my own system. And it was kind of funny because when we worked together, right? We were doing some backhangs or something. I'm like, all right. I'm like, let me just do it my way. It's like, so you can see it. And you can, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But at least you know. And so we did it, you know, and he's like, I can see where you're kind of, why you do that. You know, and there was things he was doing. I was just like, feed me more. I like that. You know, that's a good idea, you know. And so we worked really good together because he's got ideas and we worked, you know, like we're just trying to, we got a common goal, right? We're just trying to get this job done. We're trying to be efficient. And that's all that matters. That's why I like working with contractors, right? We're all on the same page. We just want to go home and see our family at night. We're just trying to get the job done. We want everybody to, you know, eat at the table. North Carolina, nice. Well, let me know. Like I said, you get something lined up. I'll come see you in North Carolina. At least it's not California. I have nothing against California. It's just a little far away. I don't think the old Nissan will make her there. Let's see here. It says I would say the outside decors or decorations are more nerve-wracking due to how easy it is to mess up, while the T-handle take way longer to do unless the decor comes with square head screws. I don't think I've ever had square head screws. I've had Phillips. Yeah, pre-drill. Pre-drill does help. That is a good point. Kevin's got pre-drill on there. Like I said, with that decor, that is a big help. You don't want to take that extra step, but I tell you what, it really makes a big, you pre-drill those the little holes, and it just makes life. But if you ever look at how much the decor has flexibility, the way it's designed, nothing's actually square in a sense. I mean, you kind of got a lot of fudge in there. And then even when you put your screws, if you leave your screws loose, there's still fudge factor in there. I found out the less I think about it, the better off I do. But if I sit there and just evaluate and just keep, like I've tried, I think there is points on it that'll hit for like a laser. I've done that, but most time it's just, the big thing I found out too is like keep it a little bit away from the weather seal, because it gets caught in the weather seal if the door drifts at all. So keep it, whatever looks good, quarter, half inch away from the weather seal on the sides. That's a big thing. And then your center ones are always kind of the real booger, right? But sometimes like a laser, I've gotten it that way, it's gotten good, or I put a little level across. You can pencil it. There's all kinds of little tricks, I normally am like a 2 to 3 cross check myself. Pre-drill says, in that case, your day is just ruined. That's right. All right, I'm gonna hop off here. I hope you guys, thanks for being here. Like I said, if you have anything, you guys can always hit me up. Just shoot me an email. Do the daveadupson@gmail.com. I typically put it in the description below. If not, it's in a lot of my other videos. Otherwise, some of you got my phone number. You know how it goes. Thanks for all the questions, you guys. I really appreciate it. It's been fun. And if you get a chance, check out the multi-code. I just put it up. It's the multi-code are the best. If you don't mind, just even hop on there. Just give it a like if you don't watch the whole video. It'll just help wake it up. Hopefully it helps Pete out. It's just my overview on the multi-code. It works great. It works super great for even some of the commercial garage door openers, but really works good on the gate operators. I still love it to this day. So anyway, thanks for being here, guys. Take care. And we'll see you on the next time. Oh, I gotta click the phone, not the computer. See if I know how to shut this off. Have a good night. See you, Tanner. Carpenter's pencil as a guide. Nice. Hardware makes a pencil. Have a good night. Good luck on that parade when it happens. Let me get some pictures over.